Welcome to Waxy Buildup, the podcast covering the earliest wax recordings from the 1880s to the 1920s. I'm Eric Paul Johnson, and America inaugurated another president.
Oh no, we're doomed!
Yes, we are. But we can still listen to great podcasts like this as America swirls down the toilet into the sewer of unrestrained fascism.
Ah, crap!
The topic this week, American presidents. I'll be playing recordings made by presidents in the late 19th and early 20th century, and songs about presidents. So enjoy the show as we go back to a time in America when the country didn't elect a Nazi-loving felon convicted of rape, fraud, election interference, who sent an angry mob of mercury drinkers to overthrow the government when they lost. Let's start at the beginning with a song about Washington. This is a cute one from 1917 by M.J. O'Connell called How Could Washington Be a Married Man and Never Tell a Lie?
A kid at school learning the golden rule, teacher often used to say, if you don't tell a lie, there's not a reason why you can't be like Washington someday. No one knows how hard I tried to follow teacher's plan. I did it till the day that I became a married man. But since that day, by golly, folks, I cannot understand. How did Georgie do it? Why doesn't some wise man get up and explain? Why doesn't he clear up my poor muddled brain? Why doesn't history tell us the mystery? Why doesn't somebody do it? I'd like to think the tales about him were true, but if he was a married man, I'll leave it to you. Say, how could Washington be a married man and never tell a lie? When I was a kiddie, we had an old cherry tree. It was Father's pride and joy. One day he went to town. I thought I'd chop it down, just like Mrs. Washington's dear boy. When he came back home that night and missed the cherry tree, I said I did it, and he licked the stuffing out of me. Yet Georgie got away with it as easy as could be. How did Georgie do it? Why doesn't some wise man get up and explain? Why doesn't he clear up my poor muddled brain? Why doesn't history tell us the mystery? Why doesn't somebody do it? He captured New York just to see all the sights, but how about those weekend trips to Washington Heights? Say, how could Washington be a married man and never tell a lie? Of course, old Georgie knew a thing or two, I'll agree. The Independence Declaration says liberty. So how could Washington be a married man and never tell a lie?
Up next, we got a song that involves our 16th president. It's not about Lincoln, but it's an interesting way to use the president as a way to express your love for somebody. From 1914, this is the Peerless Quartet with I Love You Just Like Lincoln Loved the Old Red, White, and Blue.
Down on an old-time battlefield at Gettysburg, PA, a lad and lassie standing there, 'twas Decoration Day, while placing flowers on each mound where honored heroes lie. The songbirds mating in the trees, they heard the laddie sigh. I love you just like Lincoln loved the old red, white, and blue. He gave his life for the dear old flag, and I give my life for you. My star-spangled banner love shall never wave untrue. I love you just like dear old Lincoln loved the but with little fear. The laddie said with pride, but my dear daddy fought with Lee. The lassie proudly sighed. My father wore a suit of blue, and your dad a suit of gray. That's why we both bring roses here on Decoration Day. I love you just like Lincoln loved the old red, white, and blue. He gave his life for the dear old flag, and I give my life for you. My star-spangled banner love shall never wave unto. I love you just like dear old Lincoln loved the old red, white, and blue.
Benjamin Harrison was a Republican president from March 1889 to March 1893, and unless a lost cylinder suddenly appears out of nowhere, he was also the first president to be recorded. This is from 1889, so it's not exactly Atmos surround sound DTS digital audio recording quality. It's pretty tough to make out. It's short, and what he says is, "As President of the United States, I was present at the first Pan-American Congress in Washington, D.C. I believe that with God's help, our two countries shall continue to live side by side in peace and prosperity." Benjamin Harrison.
As President of the United States, I was present at the first Pan-American Congress in Washington, D.C. Believe that with God's help, our two countries shall continue to live side by side in peace and prosperity. Benjamin Harrison.
Next we got Grover Cleveland. Up until now, he was the only president who served 2 terms, but not in a row. He was a Democrat who was in office from 1885 to 1889, followed by Benjamin Harrison, who you just heard, and then president again from 1893 to 1897. This is an excerpt from his 1892 campaign speech.
I shall not slander the fair state of Massachusetts, nor the state of New York, by saying that the people of those states will declare our helpless impotency as a nation to attend to our own business. It is the issue of 1776 over again. Our ancestors, when but 3 million, had the courage to declare their political independence of every other nation upon earth. Now we, their descendants, when we have grown to 70 million, declare that we are less independent than our forefathers.
In 1892, that very same year, Gilmore's band recorded a song about Grover. It was called Grover Cleveland March.
Grover Cleveland March, led by Gilmore's band of New York City.
Next up on our cavalcade of dead presidents is a president who was dead before he should have been dead. William McKinley was president from 1897 until September 14, 1901, when he was shot and killed. Sometime back in 1988 or 1989, a friend found a William McKinley biography written soon after he was shot dead. In it, it says his last words were, "May God forgive him." Somehow I think that's probably some writer's embellishment, because I'm going to guess the first thing he said after he was shot was, "Oh, shit!" Anyway, here's a recording of the Republican president from 1896.
My fellow citizens, recent events have imposed upon the patriotic people of this country a responsibility and a duty greater than that of any since the Civil War. Then it was a struggle to preserve the government of the United States. Now it is a struggle to preserve the financial honor of the government. Our breed embraces an honest dollar, an untarnished national credit, adequate revenues for the uses of the government, protection to labor and industry, preservation of the home market, and reciprocity which will extend our foreign market.
With McKinley out of the way, that meant his vice president moved up to being president. Republican Theodore Roosevelt was president from 1901 to 1909. Unlike current Republicans, or Republicans for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, he liked the environment, and he wanted to save it. He didn't want to sell it off to companies to mine and pillage. He was the one who started the national parks thing, so that they would be there for people to enjoy and not to pillage. Anyway, this is a recording of him giving his The Right of the People to Rule speech, recorded in August 1912.
The great fundamental issue now before our people can be stated briefly. It is, are the American people fit to govern themselves, to rule themselves, to control themselves? I believe they are. My opponents do not. I believe in the right of the people to rule. I believe that the majority of the plain people of the United States will, day in and day out, make fewer mistakes in governing themselves than any smaller class or body of men, no matter what their training, will make in trying to govern them. I believe again that the American people are as a whole capable of self-control and of learning by their mistakes. Our opponents pay lip loyalty to this doctrine, but they show their real beliefs by the way in which they champion every device to make the nominal rule of the people a sham. I am not leading this fight as a matter of aesthetic pleasure. I am leading because somebody must lead, or else the fight would not be made at all. I prefer to work with moderate, with rational conservatives, provided only that they do in good faith strive forward towards the light. But when they halt and turn their backs to the light, sit with the scorners on the seats of reaction, then I must part company with them. We, the people, cannot turn back. Our aim must be steady, wise progress. It would be well if our people would study the history of a sister republic. All the woes of France for a century and a quarter have been due to the folly of her people in splitting into the two camps of unreasonable conservatism and unreasonable radicalism. Had pre-revolutionary France listened to men like Turgot and backed them up, all would have gone well. But the beneficiaries of privilege, the Bourbon reactionaries, the short-sighted ultra-conservatives, turned down Turgot and then found that instead of him they had obtained Robespierre. They gained 20 years' freedom from all restraint and reform at the cost of the whirlwind of the Red Terror, and in their turn the unbridled extremists of the terror induced a blind reaction. And so, with convulsion and oscillation from one extreme to another, with alternations of violent radicalism and violent Bourbonism, the French people went through misery toward a shattered goal. May we profit by the experiences of our brother republicans across the water and go forward steadily, avoiding all wild extremes. And may our ultra-conservatives remember that the rule of the Bourbons brought on the revolution. And may our would-be revolutionaries remember that no Bourbon was ever such a dangerous enemy of the people and of freedom as the professed friend of both is no danger of a revolution in this country, but there is grave discontent and unrest, and in order to remove them there is need of all the wisdom and probity and deep-seated faith in and purpose to uplift humanity we have at our command. Friends, our task as Americans is to strive for social and industrial justice achieved through the genuine rule of the people. This is our end, our purpose. The methods for achieving the end are merely expedients, to be finally accepted or rejected according as actual experience shows that they work well or ill. But in our hearts we must have this lofty purpose, and we must strive for it in all earnestness and sincerity, or our work will come to nothing. In order to succeed, we need leaders of inspired idealism, leaders to whom are granted great visions, who dream greatly and strive to make their dreams come true, who can kindle the people with the fire from their own burning souls. The leader, for the time being, whoever he may be, is but an instrument to be used until broken and then to be cast aside. And if he is worth his salt, he will care no more when he is broken than a soldier cares when he is sent where his life is forfeit, in order that the victory may be won. In the long fight for righteousness, the watchword for all of us is spend and be spent.
In 1905, Prince's military band gave their interpretation of Roosevelt's inaugural parade.
Oh, gee, here they come. The Rough Riders. Why, that's the president's escort.
Steady while he's bowing. He's taking off his hat, boys. 3 cheers for President Roosevelt.
Them little guys says the Filipinos ain't they little fellas.
Yeah, and them brave boys behind. He's the Black Knight. There's Governor Warfield of Maryland. What's the matter with Governor Montague of old Virginia? He's all right. Boys, there's Governor Higgins of old New York. Oh, gee, look at the Indians. And there's the cowboys right after them. They're full of hello there, Seth. Oh, there's the Harvard College boys. Well, sir, I've seen no inaugurations since Andy Jackson's time, but boys, come on!
And now we come to the fattest president the United States has ever had, although Trump's given him a run for his money. Republican William Howard Taft served from March 4th, 1909 to March 4th, 1913. His weight fluctuated between 255 and over 350 pounds. The thing he's most famous for is being so fat that he got stuck in the White House bathtub. I suppose it's better than choking on a pretzel? Much like Trump, he was also a fan of tariffs. This recording about a protective tariff was recorded on October 1st, 1912.
Platform of 1908 promised on behalf of the Republican Party to do certain things. One was that the tariff would be revised at an extra session. An extra session was called and the tariff was revised. The platform did not say in specific words that the revision would be generally downward, but I construed it to mean that. During the pendency of the bill and after it was passed, it was subjected to the most vicious misrepresentation. It was said to be a bill to increase the tariff rather than to reduce it. The law has been in force now since August 1909, a period of about 35 months. we are able to judge from its operation how far the statement is true that it did reduce duties. It has vindicated itself. Under its operation, prosperity has been gradually restored since the Panic of 1907. There have been no disastrous failures and no disastrous strikes. The percentage of reduction below the Dingley bill is shown in the larger free list and in the lower percentage of the tariff collected on the total value of the goods imported. The figures show that under the Dingley bill, which was in force 144 months, the average percent of the imports that came in free was in value 44 3/10% of the total importation, and that under the Payne bill, which has been in force 35 months, the average percent in value of the imports which have come in free amounts to 51 2/10% of the total. That the average ad valorem of the duties on all importation under the 12 years of the Dingley bill was 45 8/10%, while under the 35 months of the Payne bill, this was 41 2/10%, and that the average ad valorem of the dutiable imports under the Dingley bill was 25 5/10%, while under the Payne bill it was 20 1/10%. In other words, considering only reductions on dutiable goods, the reduction in duties from the Dingley bill to the Payne bill was 10%, and considering both free and dutiable reductions, they amounted to 21%.
Did you get all that? We close this presidential episode with Woodrow Wilson. He was president from 1913 to 1921, so during World War I, and he's also the only president in the history of the United States to have the name Woodrow. So far, anyway. Here's a sample of his An Associations of Nations speech, recorded on August 6, 1920.
My countrymen, we believe the unspeakable sorrows, the immeasurable sacrifices, the awakened convictions, and the aspiring conscience of humankind must commit the nations of the earth to a new and better relationship. It need not be discussed now what motives plunged the world into war. It need not be inquired whether we asked the sons of this republic to defend our national rights, as I believe we did, or to purge the old world of the accumulated ills of rivalry and greed. The sacrifices will be in vain if we cannot acclaim a new order with added security to civilization and peace maintained.
From 1914, this is the Peerless Quartet with We Take Our Hats Off to You, Mr. Wilson.
You're one of Uncle Sammy's boys, you have no use for any noise. You want every Yankee hot from boat to boat. Straighter than a gladiator, you're the world's big mediator of units for United States and both of you we both. We trust you in any kind of fuss. We're glad you belong to us. We take our hats off to you, Mr. Wilson. Our hats are off to you. You're the man of the hour. You stood like a tower and know what to do for the red, white, and blue. You're the right kind of man in the right kind of place. Like Washington and Lincoln, you set the pace. They know at home and abroad. Your pen is mightier than the sword. We take our hats off to you. Your Uncle Sam is mighty proud. He's proud he picked you from the crowd. He's proud that you have shown the world your worth. You taught peace with every nation, steered us through all tribulation, and made our land the greatest land on earth. You set up a standard for the world, the flag of peace you unfurled. We take our hats off to you, Mr. Wilson. Our hats are off to you. You're the man of the hour. You stood like a tower and know what to do for the red, white, and blue. You're the right kind of man in the right kind of place.
like Washington and Lincoln. You better face they know at home and abroad. Your pen is mightier than the sword. We take our hats off to you. We take our hats off to you, Mr. Wilson. Our hats are off to you. You're the man of the hour. You stood like a tower and know what to do for great white and blue. You're the right kind of man in the right kind of place. Like Washington and Lincoln, you better face they know at home and abroad. Your pen is mightier than the sword. We take our hats off to you.
Good evening, radio fans. We are now back in the studio. Stand by for your station announcer.
Now it's time for the Century Smash Hits segment of the show. These songs entered the pop charts 100 years ago this very week. And only one song did that. All Alone by Paul Whiteman and his orchestra entered the pop chart on January 17, 1925, spending 9 weeks on the chart. 3 of those weeks were at number 1. Waxy Buildup and Century Smash Hits is a production of Radio Trolla Entertainment, Assorted Deli Meats Amalgamated. If you've got a comment, song request, or suggestion for show topic, leave a voicemail at 623-850-3375 or email it to eloftmpodcast@gmail.com.